What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to Mana Rants episode 15, the Mana Dorks podcast. We specialize in everything historic with a little spice of Commander. So, if you dig that kind of thing, make sure you stay tuned. Give us a like and a thumbs up if you dig it, and subscribe if you want to follow us further. My name is Michael Apollo, and as always, I am joined by Hoshi.
Yo, what's up, guys?
And Drunken Dork.
Hey, everybody.
So the way that our show works is through the actual phases of Magic. So we have our Untap, our Upkeep, our Draw main phase, Combat main phase 2, End Step, Cleanup, and Discard. And just like when it's passed on to your turn, you always start off every turn with your Untap step. And that's just where we, open up a drink of our choosing and talk about what we're drinking tonight. Ooh, so let's untap, boys.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
This is my favorite phase.
Oh, yeah. I think it's all of our favorite phases.
Yes, absolutely mine.
This week, I'm drinking a Crispy from the shop Beer Co. It's a blonde lager. The can was like kind of cool. It has like some cool art on it, and it just seems like kind of plain, which is kind of cool. I mean, I love the craft brews, so yeah, we'll see. I like blondes. I definitely love lagers. Drunken, what are you drinking this week?
I'm drinking Melvin. I think I don't know where they're based out of. I think like Central America. And it's Islands in the Dream, and it is a apricot pale ale. And it is really good. I've had it already once, so yeah, I really like it.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Nice, that does sound good.
Hoshi, some kind of gasoline, I'm assuming? Or...
Oh, no.
Yeah, buddy. So this is some monkey shoulder. This is like my general go-to with scotch. And so the bottle's getting a little low. It's time to polish this baby off. It is a blended scotch whiskey. It is mellow vanilla with spicy hints of zesty orange and vanilla honey. It's almost got like a little bit of a banana like hint to it too. It doesn't say that in there, but maybe it's just the monkey part of it that makes me think I'm tasting that. But yeah, it's very good scotch.
Yikes.
For being pretty cheap. Neat as always.
See you later there, bud.
Yeah. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
So we got a great episode for everyone today, and after your Untap step is always followed by our Upkeep, and that is where we discuss some news that has been happening in the MTG community. And this week we're talking about new Commander precons. It is not the yearly staple that usually comes out with precons, so this is not the 2021, but it seems like what they've been doing is with every set of cards, they'll have a Commander precon that kind of like correlates to it. So these are the Commander Legends pre-constructed decks. Right now we have two. We have Reap the Tide and Arm for Battle. One's Simic and one's Boros. What do you guys think looking at these deck lists? Or what do you think about this like product in general?
I like the idea of it. I mean, like a cheap Commander deck is great. Commanders are really like fun, inclusive community, and it's one of those ones where you can all agree to play at like a lower power level. So if you're playing with a stock deck, people can generally be like, "Hey, okay, I'll pull out one of my like lower power decks." But these ones, I'm not really blown away. I like the themes of both of them. Like the one's the Serpent deck, which is really cool. I've never really seen anyone play with an archetype successfully like that. You always see the cards around in sets, but and then the other one I really love is a special place in my heart is the Boros equipment deck. But it's just the equipment is garbage in that deck. So it's really I mean, they got Sigarda's Aid in there, which is a super good card. I love that card, but I mean the equipment is almost unusable. So yeah, a little disappointing in both of those.
Drunken Dork, what do you think about these precons?
Yeah, similar thought to what Hoshi was saying. I think that they're kind of underpowered. Like if you were to compare them, so this is a relatively new thing that Wizards of the Coast is doing. Like I think the first time they did this was with the last Zendikar set, and going forward, I think every set they release, they're going to be releasing Commander decks with them. So Yeah, I think compared to the last one, they don't look as powerful at all. That Boros one looks really fucking boring to me. And I
Yeah.
do like Boros, not necessarily in Commander. It would have been cool if they would have added some like fun like card draw stuff or mana ram stuff to it, but they didn't. They made it very very Borosy. And the blue green one, it looks good. I mean, it looks kind of cool. It's blue and green. Nothing exciting though. Like I really thought the
No.
last two were really fun with like rogues. Like I thought, obviously I talk about rogues all the time, but I think that like the thematics of it was really good. And then the other one was like a lands elemental deck, which I also really liked. So I think it was just kind of like maybe once I get my hands on them, if I do get my hands on them and I play with them, I'll really like them. But yeah, compared to the last ones, I think they just like don't even compare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess like the one takeaway I can say is like price wise, like they sell them at, if you get them at like your local Walmart or Target, MSRP, they're like what, 20 something odd dollars, right?
Yeah, they're $20, $20.99.
Okay, so
So
all right,
30.
$21. So like when you actually price everything out, they are good value, but as Drunken and Hoshi have stated, they're not good compared to like the actual Commander precons that come out annually. But I imagine this is just Wizards trying to shit out more product, get more variants. They have the fat pack bundles, they have like booster boxes. They have obviously individual packs. They have Commander precons, and they also have these, which Drunken has stated will correlate with, it seems like, whatever set is coming out, which is obviously Commander Legends in this case. What do you guys think about like the cards themselves? Like at the very least, like there's some cards here that are worth like some decent amounts of money. The lands are pretty lackluster, but there is a lot of Commander auto includes, like the signets, the soul rings, the command towers. Looks like some growth spiles, some rampant growths, Beast Within, Cultivate, Kadama's Reach, Search for Tomorrow. I mean, a lot of those cards are played in like blue green, X kind of strategies. And in Boros, it seems like there's less, like considerable less.
Yeah.
But do you think like that warrants still getting it, or is it just better to get those cards individually? Hoshi.
For me, no. I mean, I'm not going to pick up either of these just because I have almost all of those cards, which are like decent in it. And the commanders don't do anything for me to the point where I would get them. So for me, or I think any of us probably, I think it's a pass for these. But for a brand new player who's getting into commander, yeah, it's probably a pretty good deal. And it's something that you can pick up and play with, which is always nice. But I also feel like maybe it's like Star Wars, like I like Commander, and when those, the Commander decks would come out like once a year, it was kind of exciting.
Yeah.
And now it's just coming out so often, you're just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drunken, any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, I actually completely agree with what Hoshi said. Like for a new player, these are great. And if you only play Historic and you want to try a game of Commander, you should definitely pick one of these up, I think, and go on Spell Table. And there's a Battle Cruiser mode where you can play with decks that haven't been tuned up. They're like, or they're just, bad deck. I won't say bad. They're just slower decks. So I do think it is great for that. But also, like Hoshi said, unlike the Commander sets that they release annually, these are a powered down version of them, or they're supposed to be. So they're not supposed to be as strong as those. Like these are basically for people who are trying to get into Commander and also Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. I guess like my final thought is I agree with you guys both like full-heartedly. If you are into Historic and you've been hearing a lot about Commander or EDH, they're both the same name, but if you've been hearing those terms, this is definitely a great entry-level product. As I stated, a lot of these cards can go far into building a future Commander deck of your choosing that's a little bit more in the strength. But also the Commander precons, which are about $20 more, will definitely give you a semi-competitive deck right out of the box, and then usually you can like kind of switch out 10 or so cards and then make that deck pretty competitive as well. But yeah, I mean, they're a cool little product. I'm also not going to get them. I have majority of these cards. Yeah, so. But yeah, there you have it. That is the Commander Legends Commander Precons. And moving on, after our upkeep, we go into our draw step. And that is just where we real quick talk about which Magic formats we've been playing this week. So this time I'm going to switch it over to Drunken Dork. What have you been playing this week?
So I actually got to play a game of Commander this week on Spell Table, and it's so much fun. Every time I play, I'm like, fuck, man, I need to do this more. It's just a matter of time. I think the game took like almost 2 hours. And yeah, it was like arch enemy too. There was one guy who was playing, and I feel like every time you play against someone, they're like, oh, my deck never performs like this. It's like, you're full of shit, dude. Your deck probably performs like this, and you do this every time. But it was like arch enemy, and it was 3 against 1 the entire time. But it was really fun because it was like very democratic, right? Like talking to the other 2 players and getting together, and we actually killed this motherfucker. After he took out one of the other guys, and then I ended up winning. Wow. But like, you know, it could have gone to either me or the other guy. It was a really fun game. And then I've been playing some historic too still, of course. And then I also some mono green control and standard. And yeah, that has also been really fun. So yeah, I have been like trying to play as much Magic as I possibly can. Yeah, it does, right? Yeah, I love it.
That sounds so weird.
How does mono green control play? That sounds interesting.
I mean, it's not really control. It's more of like a mono green mid range, but there's a lot of like fight mechanics, and like the creatures just have so much fucking text on them that like they do everything. They like gain you life. They draw you cards. They do these things that like back in the day, like creatures weren't doing for you, you know, and like it's just like, fuck, man, green is just so goddamn powerful. It's insane.
It is.
Hoshi, what have you been doing this week?
I've been playing historic. I've been doing playing my spirits deck and my anti-planeswalker like mid-range deck a lot, and those are both been performing pretty well. The anti-planeswalker one is a lot of ramp, so you know it's way more hit or miss on that one, but it's very satisfying to win with that. But the spirits, I fell all the way back down to bronze, which is embarrassing. So I've been actually playing. I know I've been playing ranked, which I never do because I'm always trying to play some kind of nonsense and get it to work because I don't like meta decks. So, I mean, my Spirits is the closest thing that I have really to like a hardcore competitive deck. And it wins a lot. So, I've been playing that, just ranking up.
I will say that bronze, silver, and gold, I think, are harder than platinum. Personally. Even though you only get 1 tick per platinum per win for best of 1, it is like a more competitive area. You're playing with a lot of people that are like trying to also rank up at the same time.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a little mix up for me in best of 3. I definitely see a lot of try hard strategies. I think what also makes it hard in best of 3 at least is I see a lot of unique decks. A lot of stuff that you like when you get up to like platinum and diamond, the meta is like pretty refined, right? So your sideboard is actually pretty effective, but like I'm playing just everyone's trying everything, you know, Abzan, Jund, just weird stuff, but cool stuff. But as for myself, I'm just getting back in the ranked with best of 3. I did okay this season. I mean, not as high as I wanted to get, but you know, already like mid gold, so trying to get back up to platinum as soon as I can. And but it's back on my gruel. I'm constantly changing it, little things here and there, trying out new strategies. Finally was able to get a lot of wild cards and cards from pulling out of opening packs, like the Kazandu Mammoth and, you know, the Gruul lands and all that.
That's
a
good card. Yeah.
The Turn Timber Symbiote or whatever. There's a lot of like, you know, rares, and they seem to be the most popular in Magic Arena Historic specifically. So just been playing that, having some good success with it. Beat a lot of some mono red, other oddball strategies, just climb that ladder. It's kind of like a rock and a hard place, though, because I'm saving up gold for Kaladesh, but I also really want to build other historic decks that are on the back queue, like Death and Taxes and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, oh, I want to make this deck so bad, but I should wait for Kaladesh because I'm going to need wildcards for that, too. Which
just spend all your money, dude. It's
totally worth it, dude. In the end, you'll be like, there will be no buyer's remorse. You'll be like, fuck yeah, I just spent $200 on Arena and it feels
and I feel amazing.
go to the bank, ask for a loan. Like, look, I need this, all right? We're in a pandemic.
No.
I need more fucking cards, man.
I back this 100%. I feel like you should be doing this right now. Fuck the podcast.
I don't think you understand. I have a podcast. This is a tax write-off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I
People
wish.
depend on me spending my money on wild cards, okay? And it's your job, sir, to give me that money. Get me in more debt. No. Which leads into our next topic, our main phase, Kaladesh Remastered. Pretty controversial, pretty exciting. It's definitely going to affect Historic in a really big way. There's some key points that we want to talk about, but I'm going to go turn it over to the guys and just initially, what do you guys think so far about? Okay, let me say this. There's a lot of cards that are actually left out of Kaladesh Remastered. So Kaladesh, if you guys don't know that are listening at home or tuning in, it is Kaladesh and Aether Revolt, and it is a total of entirely something like 400 something cards, right? But there's actually only going to be 303 cards total in this set. So they're taking out a lot of cards. Some of these cards have been spoiled, and we have access to them. On the flip end, Wizards has also spoiled what will be in Kaladesh. So initial impressions, let's turn it over to Hoshi. What do you think about this information?
I have a lot of thoughts about Kaladesh. So this is very similar to the last set drop that they did, which was Amonkhet Remastered. And they left out a lot of good cards out of Amonkhet as well. And I think they did that for a lot of reasons. So some of them that they left out, they already mentioned that there was 3 main cards that they're banning, which are Walking Ballista, Felidar Guardian, and Smuggler's Copter, which are very powerful cards, and they're banned in Pioneer. So if they're banned in Pioneer, probably safe to say that they should be banned in Historic as well. So those will never see the light of day. But then there's a lot of other ones too, like Renegade Freighter and just a bunch of, right? Like there's 100 something cards that they're not adding in there. And I'm kind of sad at some of them because I think there's some really good strategies that they left out that would have added some really fun stuff in there that's not broken. So there's I'm sad about some stuff. The same thing I was with Amonkhet, but I'm also very excited about a lot of the cards that are coming in now.
Interesting. I definitely agree. But Drunken Dork, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Initial impressions about this news. How does it affect you? What are your opinions on it?
I haven't actually looked at all the cards that they've left out, but I have seen a few, and Smuggler's Copter is a really good one. I understand why they took out the ones that are already banned in Pioneer. Makes sense. Although I would have loved to have used it. And but some of these other cards, I think what they were doing is, to me, what it seems like is they're streamlining the set and they're making it a more draftable set, probably, because I think draft is a huge player base on Arena. It is really fun. And I think what they were probably trying to do is have a little more consistency in the draft, and because that is a huge percentage, right? 310, is that what you said is what it's going to be total?
303.
145 are left out, and 303 are left in.
Okay, so 303 is a way more draftable set than 450 plus, I think that is probably the main reason why they took that out. There's probably a lot of overlap between the two sets of just cards Because when they make a set, they make it for the purpose of drafting and for the purpose of standard and all the formats like going back, right? And so I think what they did here is they just took those ones out because probably there was a huge overlap in drafting, or they were just like, they weren't placed well in drafting or standard or the sets going back. So they probably just, unfortunately, like put them on the chopping block and then took them off, right?
Yeah. And those are some interesting points, actually. I actually completely agree with you there. I do think they're trying to streamline it. That is why they do these like blocks, right, when they're initially. But standard is already like, this is already like long gone. It's no longer in standard. This is now for a new format. Pioneer has already had access to these cards. So historic is like a very brand new thing. So maybe like, getting rid of like a bunch of junk rares or a shit ton of just useless draft cards, right? Maybe make a more unique draft, a draft that has not been seen and will be very unique for historic. So that's something I'm pretty excited about. But on the flip end, they're still reprinting cards that we already have. Something that comes to mind is fucking heroic intervention. And this seems to be a consistent problem with Wizards. There is no way for any kind of like financial assets. There's no way to like dust your cards. So like, how many fucking copies do we need of the same fucking card? Hoshi, I know you have some thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on them constantly reprinting cards over and over again?
So with the newer sets, right, when they reprinted like the Scrylands, they could have argued that, hey, the older ones will eventually, phase out of standard, right? And then that's why we reprinted them in this one. So they'll still be in standard or something. Maybe, I think, right? Are they both in the same standard block, or I don't know. But there's absolutely no reason for them to keep heroic intervention in there. Besides for drafting reasons, I think, then because we already have it, right? And it's never going to be in standard. So we already have heroic intervention. It's in standard right now. If I want heroic intervention, I can already get it. Why would I want to buy new packs of Kaladesh and then get a card that I already have on a digital format?
Yeah. Right.
There's no reason for that. And this is not the only one. There was other reprints that they did of it in Jumpstart, right? Yeah. So in Jumpstart, there's a bunch of cards that are also in this set that we already have on Arena in Historic that will not be in Standard. So there's no reason to reprint those, right, in Historic. So, I feel like it's just, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth in a set that should be generally really exciting, I feel like, in a lot of ways. That's just kind of one of those things where when I open that pack and I get Heroic Intervention, I'm going to be like, dude, I already have this. I already have 4 of these, right? Like, there's no use in me having another one of these. I don't feel bad when it's a uncommon or a common card and I get a copy of them, because whatever, screw those cards, right? It's like they don't take up like precious wild cards or anything, but like rares and mythics, I mean, that hurts. It doesn't feel good.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's completely unacceptable. And in a previous episode, me and Drunken Dork have actually touched base on this a little bit. And we said, in a future episode, we would discuss this a little more. Well, that's this episode. So, Drunken, I want you to expand on it a little more. Like, how do you feel about this and the lack of them not having dusting? Like, how does this affect you? And what are your opinions on it?
It feels dirty and gross. And, like, I really think that they need to fix this shit because it is a serious problem. And, like, I think out of anything that's in Arena right now, this is their biggest problem because, like, it really detracts people from wanting to spend money on here. I mean, I'm sure it really doesn't, but it makes them feel that way at least. And it makes them feel nasty because, yeah, like, exactly like Hoshi said, sure, commons and uncommons, like, it doesn't feel that bad because I have a fucking, like, 500 of them in wild cards, right? Plus. Right. And, but something like rares are super precious on Arena, and so are mythics. Like, they're like very valuable. It is hard to get one. You need to get a lot of cards in order to get like a rare card. And like you open a pack and you open a fucking card that you already have 4 copies of, and then you open 3 more of the same one. Now you have 8 copies of a stupid fucking card, right? Like,
Yay.
Yeah, it's stupid. After the 4th one, they really need to just like give you a wild card, right? Like, just take that shit away. Like, give you the face, right? So you can change the way it looks, maybe if it looks different. But then just give you wild card. Yeah, it feels really bad. I hate it. I don't know. I know why they put it in, right? Because of draft. Because Heroic Intervention can be a really good like get all in draft.
It's a great card.
But like if you pick it, it shouldn't cost you that fucking like wild card. It shouldn't. They should just give you wild card and then you get to use it. In the draft portion. I don't know. I could probably go on forever about this, or they need to start dusting, something like that. It actually really pisses me off.
I just don't think you should get it. I think if you already have 4 of them, right, in another set, you shouldn't get that one at all. Maybe other people that don't have it, sure, maybe they can use it in Historic or something. Maybe they're not playing Standard or something. And then maybe they can get it, and then that's fine. But for me, where I already have 4 copies of it, it might as well be just a pack of a big middle finger at me, being like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yay!
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, after the 4th one, like, regardless of what set it is, it should just be an automatic wild card.
An unusable card that I can't sell.
Yeah.
Hooray! Yeah. So
automatic wild card, and then also give me the choice of the 8 or 12 or however many different fucking art styles there is, right? Yeah. Like, it's still only 4, but I get to pick the art that I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
a lot of people like to have like a lot of like synergy, like the same type of basic lands, the same 4 copies. For me, like sometimes I like using 2 opt and then 2 Teferi opts or 2, the pirate opt, right? Like. Give me that option, but don't give me like I have 12 fucking Temple of Maladies. Like I don't need any more Skrylands.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's almost like they penalize you, right? They're like, oh, you play a lot of Magic. Well, yeah, fuck you, because now we're going to give you a card you don't have. Not, hey, you play a lot of Magic. You know what? Thank you for purchasing our products. Thank you for using our products. Let's give you a wild card in place because you already have 4 copies of it. No. Because that makes too much fucking sense, right?
Yeah. Or a foil or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of different things that they could do with it, I feel like.
Absolutely. Give me some gems. Give me if you see that the algorithm is I'm gonna pull that card, then give me another rare or something, right? Like I spend a lot of my time just trying to get the rares I need. And then it's extremely frustrating when you get a rare that you already have fucking 6 copies of, you know? Like,
yeah,
dude, this is bullshit, And do you guys think this is problem number 1? Like, they need to address this, right? Like, this is a huge problem, definitely. I think. Because people are paying really good money and they're valuing themselves in an already expensive digital format. Historic is probably the most expensive, if not the most expensive digital format on Arena.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So many wild cards are being slung like crazy, man. And some people like to stick with one powerful deck or one deck they love. Or someone like me, I just like brewing. It's fun to brew. And it's really stupid that my chances are limited, that I can't get these cards, Any final thoughts you guys have on this?
Yeah, I mean, in paper, if you get an extra card, you're like, or like, if you get 8 of the same card, you're like, oh, well, this sucks, but I could just go down to my LGS and sell these or something, or go on TCG and sell these,
and get what I want.
Yeah, but in the digital format, you're screwed. They just sit there and do nothing. You're like, great, I can't even. They're absolutely useless. Yeah. So,
and it's the option, right? Like, my final thought is you just have that option, whether you want to get rid of the other 4 or not, because maybe some people have a hoarding tendency in Arena. I don't know why, but someone could, right? So fine, if you want to keep all 8 copies of it, keep all 8 copies of it. But if you want to, if you should be giving people, they should be giving the people the option, right, to choose whether they want to keep all 8 copies or not. I think that's the main thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I completely agree. And for all those tuning in, listening, or viewing us on YouTube, if you feel the same way, we need to let our voices be heard, because Wizards is not going to do anything as long as we keep buying the product, right? We saw like what can happen if our voices were heard with Secret Lair. They did a charity event, the very next one. Is it the end-all best solution that Wizards has ever done? No, of course not. But the more of us like get together, the more that we can change the game that we absolutely love and the format that we love into at least close to perfection, or closer to a better. I mean, there's other card games out there that do tradable assets, dusting, stuff like that. There's no excuse for being the number one trading card game. There is zero excuse. Wizards cannot do this.
Agreed.
I'm super excited for Kaladesh. I know like what we're talking about is like complaining, but these are issues that Wizards needs to address. And it seems like another complaint, though. They're adding only one extra card that actually does not belong in Kaladesh. And this is kind of odd because they did not do this with the previous set. The card that they're adding is Sculpting Steel for 3 mana artifact. You may have Sculpting Steel enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact on the battlefield. Really powerful. Really cool card. Hoshi, how do you feel about this? They're only doing one. It's so far, we have no news of them adding anything else.
Yeah.
What are your impressions on this? Should they add more? Or what's some things that maybe you would like to see from other sets?
I think they should. This isn't something that I'm upset about, like I am with the other stuff, because it's just, this is all like extra stuff, right? In Amonkhet, they added in Collected Company and a bunch of other like really cool cards that were outside of the set, like Wrath of God, which is another like great board wipe, that they added in there. So those were not in the Amonkhet set, but they added them in. And so this time, Sculpting Steel is the only one that they've released so far. There's still about 25 cards that they haven't revealed yet, so maybe they're going to add some of these in. I think some stuff that would be cool with the theme of Kaladesh would be really cool, like Aether Vial, right? It's got Aether in the name, like Aether Revolt is one of the sets, right?
Yes.
Aether Vial is an amazing card, right? And I think it would be really cool to have it in Historic. I don't think it would be super busted. I think it would be fun to play with. I think like maybe some more equipment. There's not really great equipment besides Embercleave, in the game. So like, hey, maybe some more cool like artifacts. There's great equipment out there. I mean, they don't have to throw the swords in there or anything, but they can add some better ones maybe.
Luxodon Warhammer or something.
Yeah, baby. Oh, I do. I love me some Warhammer, man. That was like my favorite old school equipment. That was one of the equipments that made me like fall in love with equipments. It's so good.
It's still good. Yeah, it's dope.
It's still good. Yeah, it's a great card. Yeah, so something like
when
that.
All three of us pulled it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so something like that, or maybe some other like cool artifacts, or something else that maybe Historic's missing. Like Collected Company doesn't really have anything to do with Amonkhet, but they threw that in there. So maybe some other like cool random card that would add to the spice of Historic without breaking it would be nice.
Some valid points, and I definitely agree with you there. Drunken Dork, how do you feel about this? Does this like upset you at all, or is there any other cards that you would like to see? How do you think they should approach this with the upcoming Kaladesh remastered set?
I mean, I can't think of any cards off the top of my head that I think they should absolutely add, but I do think that, yeah, one card would be kind of ridiculous. I think they are going to add more cards, unless they've said otherwise. Did they say this is the only card, or is this just the only one?
No, there has been no confirmation.
Not that I heard. This is the only one that's been revealed yet.
Okay.
That's from outside the sets, yeah.
So I do think, yeah, they are going to add other cards. I think it's probably almost a definite that they will. I think they're taking a little time and like actually putting thought into Historic. And I hope, Aether Vial. That would be amazing. I don't think it's going to happen because it's just a really powerful card. It would aggro is already one of the top decks, right? Like, and multiple different aggro decks. So I don't think Aether Vial would help the format at all. It would be fun though,
It would be.
And yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see because they haven't revealed all the cards yet. So I'm ready for them to reveal all these cards. It does enter Historic next week, the same day that the PlayStation 5 comes out. And but I'm not one of the lucky people that got a PlayStation 5. So I'm gonna be fucking playing Historic, man. That's what I'm gonna be doing.
I will too. Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you tuning in and listening in, Kaladesh Remastered will be released on November 12th, 2020. So by the time that you're seeing this, it'll be released in about 4 days. So pretty close. But, that's Kaladesh Remastered. I'm pretty excited for it. There's obviously some issues and problems I feel with Wizards. But overall, as a whole, I am super stoked for Kaladesh Remastered coming out and changing up the Historic format. Really, really excited to see what will come forth, which will lead us into our next phase, our combat phase. Archetype. Archetype? Archetype?
The second one was definitely wrong out of all of them, just to let you know.
Arc, like Arcbound Phoenix.
Arcbound Phoenix, there it is. Or Arcbound Ravager, that's it. Got to remember cards. Best archetype with Kaladesh coming out. So I'm gonna turn it over. I want to hear some thoughts on what you guys have to say. But what is going to be the best new strategy? Let's do that with Kaladesh coming out. And I'm gonna turn it over to Hoshi. With Kaladesh Remastered fast approaching, what do you think is the best new archetype that's coming out?
You did it again. You're killing me, dude.
I think I'm just dyslexic with it now. Archetype. There we go.
You mushmouth you. There's a few because there's new mechanics that are being added with Kaladesh. So there's improvise and there's the energy that's coming out. I think energy is going to be very powerful with stuff like Aetherworks Marvel, but I think Aetherworks Marvel is going to go very well in sack decks. So there's already sack decks that are pretty powerful, and I think that card is going to be super busted in those decks, like the dumb cat oven combo, right? Because Aetherworks Marvel, if people don't know, is a 4-drop artifact, and whenever a permanent leaves the battlefield, you get an energy, and then if you have, I think, 5 energy or whatever, you tap it, and then you look at this. You look 6 cards deep into your library, and then you can cast anything for free, basically, with it. So crazy busted card. It was banned, I believe, in Standard at one point. So I think that card is going to slot into like the sack archetypes very well and be insane. So I think sack archetypes are going to be a new rising threat because of just that card. I think alone is going to be very crazy with it. So I think energy is gonna actually come up and be fun. Hopefully, I don't think it's going to be super broken and break the format, but I think energy is going to be something new that's popping up.
All right, Drunken Dork, what do you think is going to be the best new archetype coming out with Kaladesh Remastered?
So this is a pretty dumb combat because I kind of agree with what Hoshi's saying, but because I think that deck is more of a mid-range. It tends to be like a mid-range style deck, and I too think with this new set coming in, I think mid-range is gonna actually get a lot better, which is fucking crazy because aggro and mid-range is pretty much all you see. I think with cards like Torrential Gearhulk, which is actually when it was in Standard, was more of a control card. But I think going into this format, Historic being something completely different, I think you will kind of see this card floating around in there. And then not only that, but with cards like Fatal Push, right? Which is an amazing card. It is played throughout all formats. All formats that it's available in, it is played in.
The Eternals.
And so, things like that. And actually, where I'm going to go with this is Rogues, because I think this set has a lot of Rogues in it. And I think if anything, it's actually gonna push the power level of rogues. Like rogues are amazing in standard. They still are, even after Omnath, or actually especially after Omnath. I think they have actually excelled a little bit more. Unfortunately, like there's a bigger card pool in historic. Or not, unfortunately. There is a bigger card pool in Historic, though, so rogues just don't fare as well. I think with this set coming in, I think you actually will see more rogue decks coming in, because there are like some pretty powerful rogues. And like Hoshi said, energies, and it is a resource, right? Like mana is a resource, like life is a resource. Like whenever there is a new resource you can tap into, it's an incredibly powerful thing, right? Like if there's a way I can cheat things in without spending one resource, like it's always going to be good. So I think Aetherworks Marvel, of course. I do think that Glint Sleeve Siphoner is going to make a scene. That is a good creature, and it's going to fit perfectly into rogues. That's the one where whenever Glint Sleeve Siphoner enters the battlefield or attacks, you get a energy. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 2 energy. If you do, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. So it's a 2 mana draw card rogue, without paying any mana after you play it, right? It's all energy.
Crazy.
which is great. I do think that you will see more rogues in Historic coming forward, and I think it will become a better deck. And I actually think with Gifted Aetherborn, Mono Black is also going to step up a notch for sure.
Yeah, I also think healing, life gain is going to go up a notch as well, because we have 2 super powerful cards that are coming into this set with Authority of the Councils, which is a 1-drop enchantment, which is insane for what it does, because all your creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped, and then whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your opponent's control, you gain 1 life. So that's crazy life gain, right, against aggro decks, which are all over the place in Historic, and a 1-drop, so you can get this down on turn 1 and start gaining life immediately. So this card is really good in life gain and control, I think. But then also for life gain, we have Aether Flux Reservoir, which is a 4-drop artifact, and whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you cast this turn. So if you start doing a bunch of stuff every turn, boom, 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 you're gaining life like crazy. And then if you get 50 life, you can just pay 50 life and then deal 50 life to somebody. So I think that's going to be a spicy addition to the already pretty crazy life gain decks that are in there. So I think it's going to be fun. Life gain's going to be good, I think. There's some good stuff that you can do with those.
So we have some rogues. We have some mono black coming in from Drunken Dork. We have some life gain, and we have some control aspects coming in from Hoshi. And they've already kind of touched about some cards that help this strategy. But so since that question has already been answered, I've already weighed my options with those. My last would be, what are these archetypes strong against? What do you think you fare well against when you're playing other decks, other strategies, So, Drunken, I'm going to turn it over to you. You're mentioning mono black control or mono black in general, rogues. What do you think you fare well against?
So it's kind of hard, right? Like without seeing the meta, it's hard to say like what it would fare well against. Rogues right now have a problem against like I think mono, man, I don't even know. I feel like when I play my rogues deck in standard, it just doesn't have a problem against many things unless I draw bad. Like that is like the bad thing about that deck. And mono black is definitely bad against aggro, I think, because mono black is more of a even mono black aggro, mono black mid. They tend to be more of like a mid to control style of deck. So I think they do poorly against aggro decks. And I'd probably say the same thing about rogues. Yeah, with goblins being out there, knowing how powerful goblins are. I haven't looked at what goblins are being introduced to in this set, but I know there are going to be some because they're in literally every set. It's like elves.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I do think probably both of these decks will fare well against a lot of stuff except for aggro. Yeah, I think aggro is going to be the hard one. I think goblins is just so fucking out of control that it's hard to say.
It is. Yeah.
Let's flip it over to Hoshi. So same question. What do you think that life gain and or control? What do they fare well against in a vacuum? I mean, like Drunken has said, we don't know, but with the knowledge that we do have.
So the sack deck, right? That one is pretty good against control in those mid-range type archetypes, I feel like, because once you get into mid-range and you start building stuff up, especially if you're doing the sacrifice and the food and all that with it, it can just kind of go off once it stabilizes. And then with that Aetherworks Marvel thing and being able to dig through your deck, you can just pull Ulamog out, or you can pull out like Bolus's Citadel, all this crazy stuff you're going to be able to do with that deck. You're going to be able to have like huge like swings near the end of it. So I think that one is going to have a lot of problems with like the hyper aggro like goblins is going to be a difficult matchup for the sack deck. But with the life gain deck, I think that is going to do very well against aggro. The authority of the council is pretty much going to shut down goblin decks in a lot of way. Everything that they do comes in tapped. That slows them down a lot. They're going to be able to gain a ton of life. Every goblin that comes into play is going to trigger a life gain effect, right? So, and then they already have like the Soul Sisters that whenever a creature comes in, you gain life. There's so many crazy life gain stuff with that deck. I think that is going to outpower the goblins specifically. I think it's going to be a very good counter for that top goblin deck. But I don't think it's going to be good against control.
Yeah.
I think hardcore control is going to not be unbeatable against it because that deck can go off like crazy and kill very quickly. Mm-hmm. But I think Authority of the Councils does nothing against a control deck that doesn't play creatures. So Aetherflux Reservoir, however, will be a kill for them because control decks usually don't touch your HP. So Aetherflux Reservoir is a very good thing against a control deck if they don't have a way of getting rid of that artifact and you're still gaining a lot of life. You can just get up to above 50 and then just straight one-shot them. So I think it still stands a good chance against control, but that'll be a harder matchup for it.
Interesting. So just a little update. Looking through all the red cards that are spoiled right now, there's actually 0 goblins.
I didn't see any, yeah.
Oh, really?
It's gremlins. Yeah, they're doing gremlins. I guess that was the thing
Yeah.
with Kaladesh. But no goblins, so, fuck you, Muxus.
Yay! Yay. There's quite a few elves, though.
Yeah, for sure. There's actually a lot of really cool elves. Flipping it back to Drunken Dork. Final selling point, as Drunken has already stated, this is already kind of like an odd combat because Hoshi and Drunken have both stated that energy is going to be a big part of the future of Kaladesh, which I also agree with. But final selling points, why do you think rogues and or mono black is the archetype to fear and be wary of?
First of all, so like when you guys said there's no goblins, I looked to see if there's any zombies because goblins, zombies, and elves, right? Every set. There's no zombies either. That's fucking crazy. I'm sure there will be at least one zombie and at least one goblin. But like the final selling point I'm going to say is, I do think that mid-range is going to be powerful going in. I still think that contesting with goblins is going to be really hard. Like, I think that's always going to be a challenge. But like if what they put in for rogues is powerful enough, the mana base in Historic is fucking amazing. It is so good. That like, you could go 3-color rogues, no problem, right? Like you can go 3-color anything, you can go 5-color anything in Historic. It's crazy how good the mana bases are in there.
Yeah, it's great.
And so like it really just depends, what else they reveal here. But I do think that cards like Fatal Push will make an impact, and like that is definitely a very playable card in Historic, and it can go into Rogues incredibly well. And the Glint Leaf or Glint Sleeve Siphoner will also go well into Rogues, and then maybe even Gonti. I don't know, like that is a 4-cost, so
it's a good one.
It is a good one.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
But like there are cards that can fit in here, and the thing about Rogues is it tends to be more like a tempo deck. So I do think it always fares okay, if not the best.
Okay. Sorry, just looking through. There's so many good cards in this set.
Yeah.
Hoshi, final selling points, life gain / control, utilizing energy. Why do you think this is the archetype to fear?
So I think sorry. So I think energy is just is really fun, and like Drunken Dork was saying, it's like a new resource that's being added, and us Magic players, we like using our mana and our resources and our ways to do these shenanigans in the game, and adding another like type of mana resource to be able to use is very appealing to us. So I think that there's going to be a lot of people trying out a lot of crazy energy stuff when we start this set. I don't know if energy is going to go the distance in this one, but I think it will be up there. And there's crazy cards like Aetherworks Marvel, and I think there's going to be definitely a way to break that card if we can figure out a good strategy with energy with it, and with all the cards that we have available in Historic. Now that one I'm a little more iffy on. However, the Life Gain one I am sure is going to be a solid deck. Life Gain is already a very solid deck in Historic, and then adding Authority of the Council is probably, Goblins are probably a little bit of a problem for the Life Gain deck right now. Maybe not an end-all, but something like Authority of the Council, it shuts down their turn 3 kill. They can not turn 3 kill you with Muxus if you have Authority of the Council, right? All of their stuff comes in tapped. They cannot attack. You're gaining a tremendous amount of life when they're doing that too. So if you got one of those Ajani Pride Mates on the deck and they just crap a ton of stuff onto the board, that prize mate is going to be enormous, and there's not going to be any blockers for it potentially, right? And then if you have Aetherflux Reservoir, they've just given you so much life, right? Like you just kill them. There's so many like cool things that I feel like you can do with that deck now with the things that are being added to it. So I think that's going to be a super powerful deck that you're going to need to watch out for.
Against non-creature decks, though, that card does literally nothing.
Literally nothing, that one, yeah. But Aetherflux Reservoir does.
Yeah.
So this is also another difficult one. There's a lot of cards that we also have not even mentioned. Something like Aethersphere Harvester, which could be a really good vehicle. A 3/5 for 3 with only crew of 1.
Vehicles is another one. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool strategies. Yeah.
But the big key takeaway here is that there's a lot of cards now that utilize Improvise and adding energy. And energy, whether it's going to be staying or not, is definitely going to be new and something that we're all going to be playing around with and trying to make work. Both Hoshi and Drunken Dork have made some extremely valid points. Looking through all the cards and everything that can happen, man, this is going to be a tough one. But the way that, and I'll explain how I did this. There was 3 points that I was keeping in my mind. So I'm going to give this week to Drunken Dork.
What? I did not expect that one.
And I'm going to explain why. I was actually initially going to do a tie. But Drunken Dork made a very valid point right at the end, talking about non-creature spells. So the big key takeaway here is that Rogues is already a thing. Well, you know what? Mono White is also a thing. Mono White Life Gain is also a thing. But Where mono white life gain is definitely the superior best of 1 deck, and that was the 1.2 Hoshi. Rogues, I feel like, is the more superior best of 3 deck when you compare it against mono white life gain. Mono or whatever color, like Grixis Rogues or Dimir Rogues, however, like Drunken Dork has stated, the mana base is so superior. You can do a lot with it. But when you have access to a sideboard, you're actually gaining a lot as well. There's so many new rogues in this. I mean, there's the Aether Prisoner that adds energy. There's the other rogue that adds energy, and you can sack or get rid of energy to draw a card and lose a life. So there's a lot of card draw. So there's a lot of things that you can get access to in the sideboard as well. But on top of the fact that Drunken has stated non-creature spells, that there's a lot of things that could be dead to mono white, which I think is the final push. But I mean, very close. Until you said that, I was actually going to consider doing like our first draw, and you guys just no winner determined. But yeah, so that's my decision for combat. I'm giving it to Drunken Dork.
I finally won one. I
should have mentioned Fatal Push also does nothing against control. But
yeah, that's true. You're right.
But control is also not really there. It's just
true.
not really viable. I think control will be something with Kaladesh, but I mean something that's already there and something we have yet to see, right? Like
yeah. Oh, Beryl, Chief of Compliance, is coming in, so he's
Brawl.
In theory, this is going to be
crazy.
Like control, I believe, will stand up and finally approach, but I mean, as of yet, we still don't have.
I hope so. Control. I want to see some more control out there. I don't like playing it in best of 1 personally. It's great in best of 3. I also don't like playing it there either recently, because when I play Arena, I just kind of want to get my games over with, which is a weird way of saying I enjoy doing something. I just want to get it done with. Like, I don't even want to play that thing anymore. But, I do think it would be fun to see more control out there.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm super excited for just a lot of things coming out in Kaladesh. Control especially. I love control. It's like I like more mid-range control. Unless I'm playing Gruul, then I'm more like aggro mid-range. But if I'm playing Esper, if I'm playing Azorius, I just really want it to work, especially since we have Wrath of God, Sphinx's Revelation. Like, it's almost there, and I really hope Kaladesh can help control push it out to the forefront. But what'd you guys think of this week's combat? Which archetype did you think is going to be the most superior with Kaladesh coming out? Let us know in the comments below, and if you haven't, please subscribe. Help some dudes out. Give a thumbs up. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Turn on that bell notification so that way you can get updated with our videos every single time they come out. And after our combat is our main phase 2, the horseshit card game. And I'm going to turn it over to Drunken Dork. He's going to explain us how we're going to play.
All right, boys. I got a good one this week, all right? You ready for this?
I'm ready.
I'm ready to lose.
Ready to lose again.
I'll explain the rules real quick in case you haven't seen this before. This is a horseshit card game where I name 3 to 5 cards, and it's up to these drunken idiots to figure out which one of these cards is not a real Magic card. So, like every week, I go with a theme. And this week, I'm going with a tribal theme. And it's everyone's favorite tribe. All right? You ready for this? So my first card is Goblin Grenadiers. All right? Or Grenadiers. It is 3 in a red. It is a creature goblin at uncommon, and it is from Weatherlight. Whenever Goblin Grenadiers attacks and isn't blocked, you may sacrifice it. If you do, destroy target creature and target land. That's pretty good. Target creature and target land. Yeah. And it is a 2/2. Yeah. Our next one is Goblin Hero. It is 2 in a red. And it is a creature goblin from common or add common from 9th edition. and it is just a fucking tutu. That's all it is. It says nothing else. All right. Goblin hero, man. He is a real
What a hero.
As far as goblins go, that's all you need.
Yeah.
And then Goblin Grappler. It is 1 red mana. It is a creature goblin. It is a common from Legions. And it says it has Provoke. And it is a 1/1. All right. Our final card, Goblin Obliterator. It is 4 and a red. It is a creature. It is a goblin rare from 5th edition. And it says 4 and a red. Sacrifice Goblin Obliterator. Deal damage to each non-goblin creature equal to the number of goblins you control. And it is a 3/3. So since I started with Hoshi last week, I'll start it with Apollo this week. So what do you got for me, Apollo? Any of them you need me to
What was the one you said after Goblin Hero?
Goblin Grappler.
Yeah, that's the one I'm going with.
Goblin Grappler, huh?
Grappling goblins, yeah. I think that's the horseshit fucking
All
bullshit
right.
card. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, the one that destroys a land sounds really good. It sounds almost too good. And then
I feel like
Goblin
Hoshi knows I picked wrong.
No, I don't know. And then Goblin Obliterator sounds super crazy. And it also sounds like Phyrexian Obliterator, which I know you've been playing mono black, so maybe that like seeped into your brain, and that's why you picked. I'm gonna go with the Goblin Obliterator. It's just a guess. Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. Yeah,
so
Goblin Obliterator.
We got
Final answer.
all right, that sounds great. Goblin Grappler and Goblin Obliterator. Well, this week, like all weeks,
Oh my god.
someone won, and it wasn't me.
Oh. What?
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Hoshi, you got it right. Yeah, Goblin Obliterator. Yeah, that is not a real card.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Woo, I won. Oh, this feels great.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, honestly, I didn't even think of Phyrexian Obliterator when I made this card up. I was just like, how can I destroy what name would go good with this? And I just thought of that. And that you're probably 100% correct. It's probably like, Phyrexian Obliterator, like in my head. But yeah, good job. Good job. 1 point for Hoshi. That's the first time someone has gotten one in like a few episodes, I think.
It's been a while. It's been a long while since I won one.
It's been a while. Here.
Okay. Relax.
Dear diary, I lost again.
Yeah.
I remain a fucking loser.
I just imagine you writing that while you're just like standing in the corner with your head against the wall, and you're like,
He's standing in the shower writing it on the tile.
Yeah. I have like Paranormal Activity, just like staring at my own bed with nothing in it.
The water is like going in your eyeballs. You like don't even give a fuck anymore.
hello, darkness, my old friend.
Hello. That's good. That is the horseshit card game. What'd you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Did you guess right? Were you correct with Hoshi on the Goblin Obliterator, or were you a dumb like me and getting it wrong consistently week to week? So let us know in the comments below. But after our main phase 2 is our end step, and that's just other shit that we've been doing this week. So I'm going to turn it over to Hoshi. What's up in the world of crazy Florida, my friend?
Oh man, I got so drunk that I threw up and was hungover, which is crazy. This hasn't happened in years. As you can imagine, I drink quite a bit on a consistent basis, though. I don't really get hammered anymore. It's been years since I've gotten like really hammered. I think since the last time Drunken Dork was down here was probably the drunkest I've been in a very long time.
Yeah, that was nice.
But Halloween, man. My girlfriend found a moonshine tasting, which she was like, I think it's free. I was like, no, it's downtown. It's not gonna be free. I was wrong. It was free, and they had free food and stuff. So I was just drinking free moonshine all night, and then we also went to other bars and we're getting like old fashions and beers and all kinds of stuff. So, boy, I was lit up on Halloween, man. It was a good old time down here, dude. So I did that, and then I've been recovering for days. So, because I'm old. And,
lit AF, as they say.
Yeah, I'm old.
Were you
so I don't recover as
were
quick.
you fucking talking about Tom Cruise constantly, and your eyes are spinning in opposite directions, looking like
dude, no,
demon
the
man
Force
or
was
something?
with me, dude. The Force was with me. He was keeping me up. Ghost had his little Jedi costume on. It was super cute.
Oh, that is super cute. If you guys don't know, Ghost is his super cute puppy who sometimes sleeps on the couch in the back if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's not here tonight.
Drunken, what other shit have you been doing this week?
Nothing too exciting. I finally got to play some video games, so I've been playing The Last of Us on PlayStation, the first one, and yeah, it's fucking dope, dude. That game is really good. I never played it before. I tried a few times, and I was like, fuck, I hate the gameplay. So, like the old bitch that I am, I turned it on to easy mode, and then I've just been playing on easy mode because I really just don't like the gameplay in that game, and I just want to get through it and listen to the story, because the story is actually phenomenal. It's like really, really good.
That's fair.
And then another thing I've been doing is I binged watch the show on Netflix called The Queen's Gambit, which is I don't know if you two would like it, but it's a show about chess. Basically, I think there's a lot of overlap with chess and Magic, actually, right? They're both strategy games. And
I saw a preview for that.
It's not based on a real story, which is unfortunate. It's all fiction.
It's based off a book.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, it's a fictional book, though. But yeah, it is really good. The girl is very attractive.
But who is she? She's in something else, too, isn't she?
She's in Witch, but when she was like really young, like VV Witch. There's two V's.
Yeah.
Oh no, she's the girl that's right. She's the girl that's in the new Marvel New Mutants movie.
Oh, okay, dope.
Yeah, she plays the blonde chick that's Colossus's sister.
Oh, Magic.
Where she plays Magic. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Down. Yeah, she's a dope actress. Like, I'm not kidding. This show was really good. If you guys once again, I don't know if you like it, Houston. Maybe your lady might like it. You should watch it with her. I think it's definitely worth a watch. It's super interesting. It's really well written. Characters are great. And like I read like I'm a fucking nerd, and every time I enjoy something, I have to read about it after to like see what it's about. But like, unlike most chess movies, they actually go over, like, they talk a lot about like real chess moves and real chess strategies, and they go in depth, and apparently it's like it's all real. Like, none of it's not like those parts aren't fictional. Those are like it's really like in depth, and it's really interesting. It's good.
Dude, we had that time in our life where we were playing chess pretty in depth for a while.
Were we? I don't remember.
I still play.
Back in the Redondo days when we were hanging out. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's a fun game. I play every once in a while. I have my chessboard back there, so.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I still play with an ex-coworker of mine. He lives like a couple blocks down, and we walk over, have some beers, and we play some games. I love chess.
Nice, dude.
Chess is like an absolutely great game, and I have to full-heartedly agree with you. My parents were watching it, and I stepped in and watched like a few episodes, and then stopped because I loved it so much. I was like, whoa, this is a really, really good show.
Yeah.
It's like sex, drugs, and chess and roll.
Yeah, and chess. Yeah, dude. It's crazy. Yeah, that is what it is. Sex, drugs,
totally
and
normal
chess.
story. I'm just so sick of hearing about those three things together all the time, you know?
It's completely awesome. Like, she's like a super badass at chess, right? Yeah. And then, but she like has problems. Like with high intelligence comes like addictive personalities, and you know, like, without spoiling anything, troubled past and stuff. It's a really great show. Highly recommend it.
It's like Our Lives with Magic, right?
Yeah.
I'm lacking in the high intelligence, but sure, yeah.
And the attractive.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah,
yeah,
of course.
yeah, that too.
And the winningness.
And the
yeah,
winning.
this
Yeah.
girl's
Yeah,
a
and the
world
winning,
champion.
yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
So basically, no,
Okay,
nothing
so
at all.
Yeah.
So
No,
there's
no
a game.
correlation at
There's
all.
a game.
I lose constantly in Magic. I am not intelligent, and I'm not a good-looking man. Like, so
Yeah.
no.
But we do play games,
Got
so
me
we have
again,
that
Hollywood.
in common, right?
Damn you, Hollywood. Damn you. As for myself, I was going to talk about the Queen's Gambit, but we already did. But The
nice.
Mandalorian season 2.
Yes.
Oh my God! Don't say any
I can't
spoilers.
say a
Yeah.
damn thing other than
Yeah.
fucking get Disney Plus if you don't have it and
Oh,
watch that
man.
shit. Oh my
yeah, you
God.
guys need to, if you guys haven't seen that, wow.
I saw a
So
hilarious meme about that. So whatever that actor's name is, it was like, oh, blah, blah, went to the hospital with severe back pain, is not expected to come out because he's been carrying the Star Wars franchise on his back.
Yeah.
Dude, so true, though. It's so good.
It's such a simple show too. There's not a lot to it, right? He doesn't do like too many crazy stuff. He barely talks ever, but it's just this like Western gunslinger. He's just badass, and it's so well produced and shot and everything. And I'm so enthralled. It reminds me of like the early days of Game of Thrones, where you were just so enthralled in it, you know, and you're like, this is so. I can't stop watching it. Oh, I love that.
It might be like the 80s baby in me, and like I'm sure you two agree, but like I grew up with, you know, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and, you know, Return of the Jedi. And this is just, it's after that. Like, it just the way the cinematography is, like with the cross dissolves and stuff, it's just like the old school stuff. It's a very simple fucking story with minimal CG. I mean, they use it when it's appropriate. And that's what I love. Like, it puts me in the world, and I fucking love Star Wars. And something me and Hoshi were talking about in pre-production was, for all you Star Wars fans out there, I'm assuming you're all Star Wars fans, right? I mean, who's not? Easter eggs. There's so much in this first episode.
So many.
How many can you see?
Yeah.
If you're a true fan, try to find them all, because there's a lot. There's a shit ton, and it's just super. It's fucking cool. I can't wait for the next episode.
No, tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Or I guess by the time you guys have seen this, the second one has already been out.
Yeah,
actually, the
there
third
you
one
go.
will probably be out. But yeah, that is our end step, and now we go into our cleanup, followed by our discard. Cleanup is just social media promo, and we just go ahead and blast it. If you haven't already, please like this video, please subscribe, click the notification bell, so that way you are caught up, and let be known whenever we release a video. We do gameplays, unboxings, and obviously our weekly podcast. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the Mana Dorks. There seems to be some confusion online. Some people are finding some other Mana Dorks. That's not us, bro. Someone was saying in the comments that, yeah, you guys haven't posted in 9 months? I'm like, bro, we haven't even existed in 9 months. That's
Yeah.
So there's a lot of other people out there, but please be sure that we are the tap symbol, and we follow an 80s theme, so heavily purples and blues, and, you know, our three ugly faces. And then once again, you can also get us on YouTube and then wherever you get your podcast if you want to listen on the go. So now is our discard, where we finish whatever we're drinking.
Hey,
ladies and gentlemen, bottoms up, and may the force be with you.
Farewell, boys.
Oh, peace out.